Have you ever wondered what games you should keep or you should lose? Find out here at Purge Reviews.
Bohnanza is one of the greatest card games ever made, and is made by Uwe Rosenberg, who went on to make really, really heavy Euros. But before he was really known for that, he was known for this game. And what is interesting about this game is that you're going to have a hand of cards, and you can't change the order of those cards. So what you have to do is trade with the other players. But everybody has an incentive because of the way the game scores. This is 2 expansions for that game in one box. First, you're going to have the ladies. And what this is going to do is shake up the 3 to 5 player game. You're going to have males, females, and babies. They're going to have different ways that they will score inside of the bean categories. Normally, each of the type of bean will score a certain way. This will kind of shake that up a little bit. This is for people who played the base game for a while. You're looking for something a little different. You could teach this right off the bat to somebody that's new to the game, but I think I would play the base game a little bit. Move into ladies. This is definitely going to shake things up and make the game more interesting. Going to give extra life to the game. That's what you're looking for, is extra life. Now, as for the gangsters, this is a 1 to 2 player expansion. So this is going to make the game playable for 2 players or just 1. Obviously, this is a trading game, so with 2 players, that's not the most enticing gameplay mechanic with 2 players, and definitely not solo, because who am I going to trade with? This puts dummy players in the game, 2 or 3 dummy players, depending on if you're playing with 1 or 2 players, and they're going to be harvesting, and you're going to be trying to trade with them and kind of mix things up. It does have a high difficulty to it. I find it to be a little bit more difficult if you're looking for something that's harder to play, but this will make the game definitely feasible for 1 or 2 players. The ladies will shake things up in the base game, so it's kind of nice you're able to get this in. This was way before its time when solo gaming is so popular now, but this is a really neat expansion that you might want to add. I'm going to purge this one. It's not something I want to play solo or 2 players, and it's something I like the base game enough, but I don't play it that much. I don't think the extra wrinkle is going to be there for me. So this is what I wanted to pass on because it's getting rarer and rarer to find as time goes on. So it'll be a purge to me, but it's actually one I can recommend if you're a big fan of Bohnanza. Here's Bohanza Ladies and Gangsters. You're going to get 2 games in one. One game that will be 3 to 5 and one game that will be 1 or 2. So technically, you're getting a 1 to 5 game experience. You're going to open up the box, which uses the standard yellow rulebook, which will take a look in a few minutes, and you get 4 sets of cards. You can see here the cards always tell you how many are in the deck and the different payouts for them, and then the coins you will collect will be on the back. You'll see that in each of these as you go through the cards. You can see there's a whole bunch of different beans, and the artwork is really cute and normally played for laughs. So what you're going to get a little bit differently in this set is you're going to get some females and some babies. This will be used for the ladies, and the ladies always have maybe worth a little bit more coin, and then the babies will be worth no coins in this set. So you're going to get a few of those that will be included. In addition, you're going to get the cards you'll need, the gangster cards that will be used for the 2-player experience. Al Carbone, Don Corleone, Joe Bonan, and you'll see that those kind of cards will be in here also. And these will be the ones that utilize for the 2-player experience and the solo experience. The cards are really good. They kind of feel like the Munchkin cards. You play Bohnanza, you know what they feel like. Shuffle really well and will feel very good in your hand. Not too bad, and I love the artwork included. The rulebook is going to be fairly simple. You're going to have not a whole lot of pictures. You have some over here. As you listen to the contents over there, the font was a little tiny for me, especially on this yellow. The first part is going to be the ladies variant that you're going to have in here. You can see there are some pictures and some examples that you'll be utilizing in here. Very simple to understand, especially if you ever played regular Bohnanza, and it will tell you in here the differences from the original game. Then you're going to have the gangsters, which is the 1 to 2 player variant that you'll have here. And then you'll have, as you go through it, and it's going to take up the most space because it's a lot different than regular Bohnanza. Not a lot, but a little bit. And you have the solitary rules over here that you'll be utilizing as you play through. Rulebook, I would say, read the version you want to play. If you want to play the 3 to 5 player, read that. If you want to go, you don't need to read it all at one time, but each section probably will take you, 10, 15 minutes to get through. Very easy rules, especially if you play Bohnanza before, you'll be able to pick this up immediately. So I'm going to go over the gist of what you're doing here in Bohnanza. So normally you're going to have 2 bean fields that you can plant down. Later on in the game, you're able to give up victory points or coins to get a 3rd bean field, but for now, we're just going to show you how it normally does. So when you play a hand of Bohnanza, let's say this is my first card and this is my last card, I can never shuffle things up or move these around. I'm always going to have to play them in this order to go to here, and you kind of know that as you're going through. So the first thing you do on turn is you would plant the first one. If I want to, then I can choose to plant the second card. But that's a may. I must always plant the first one, but let's say I want to do both of these. Then I can trade with other people. It's the only way to get the cards out of my hand. Well, I definitely don't want to play these. I'm going to play those right there. But I don't have another blue bean, so maybe I want to get rid of something in the future because these two I'm going to play next turn. So maybe I would trade these with somebody else. Now, any cards that are traded come out of order once they're traded, and that would be that. So you can just trade with anybody else, but it has to be one player, and it has to exchange cards in the game. Then any cards, let's say I got this card in a trade. Any cards I got in a trade do not enter my hand. They must be planted after the trading is done, and they would go down into the facility. Then, at the end of my turn, I can draw cards from the deck, adding additional cards into the set as we go, and I would put those in my hand at the back, and my turn would be over. Once again, my next turn, I must place the first one, then I could do the second one if I wanted to. Now, what are we trying to do here? What you're trying to do here is collect coins. So if you look here, I have a 1 here and I have 4 here. At any point in time, doesn't matter, I can sell these off and get the coins. So if I were to sell the blue bean, I would need 4 cards to get 1 coin. I only have 1. It's going to do me no good to discard this. Now on the next turn, if I had to play this chili bean, I'd probably go ahead and discard this for nothing and play the chili bean because I have to play something and I'm kind of building up what I'm doing over here. Now, if I were to sell this, there's 4 kidney beans here. I would need 5 in order to get a coin, so I couldn't do that yet, and I know that there are 19 of these in the deck. But let's say I had 6 of these here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I'm ready to sell off. So then what I would do is I would discard all of these. With 6, I would have 2 coins, so I would take 2 of these cards, put them like this on the back, so now there's 2 of these missing from the deck, put this in my scoring pile, and the remainder of these would be discarded out of the game and not really score me anything. So I've scored my 2 coins. These will be placed down in front of me. I still have this chili bean in one bean pile, and this one would be empty. So maybe on my next turn, I'd play my fava bean there, and I'm ready to go, and I have the 2 victory points. At the end of the game, whoever has the most victory points is the winner. So how does the ladies differ a little bit? So let's take a look at the blue bean. So if I had either of these 3 cards because they're blue bean, they would immediately go down in the blue bean deck on top of each other. If I had her on top, if I had 3 cards, I would get 1 coin. If the baby bean happened to be on top, I would get nothing. He's not worth any coins. And if the male was on top, I would get no coins. I would have to have at least 4 there. But if I had 4, I would get 1. So the female's a little bit better that she only requires the 3. So that's going to be the main variant difference in this version. Everything else is pretty much going to play the same, except for you're going to have different values of the bean cards. So now we're going to talk about Gangsters, which is the 2-player variant for Bohnanza. Now, I'm only going to explain the difference in the rules. I'm going to assume you know how to play Bohnanza, or at least what I've already gone over in this video. So the 2-player are going to have Al Capone and Don Corleone. That will be out. Each player will start with a hand of 5 cards. Then you will draw cards for Al Capone. You will continue to draw cards as long as they match, if you were to do something like that. If a card came up that did not match, then it would go over to Don Corleone, and then you would stop. So all the cards that match in a row would be put here, and then the next card, I drew this one, it didn't match, now I'm aware of that, it would just go and sit there. So the round structure is going to be a little bit different. So what you're going to do first in this, if there was an offer made, you could take one of those piles, and we'll get back to how the offer is made, but just know if there's an offer, you would take it first off. Then the player would look at his fields, and if he has any, let's say my fields were this. I had a kidney bean and a fava bean. So because I have a kidney bean that matches, I would have to pay it to Al Capone, and I would lose that from me. So let me give you another example. Let's say I had 3 kidney beans in a field and a fava bean. Fava bean doesn't match either of these, so I don't have to give that one up. The kidneys do, so I just have to give up one of these and give it to Al Capone, and I would keep my other 2 in my field. Then, just like the normal game, I would have to plant my first one into a field, and then I may plant the second one if I so choose. And just like the original game, you have to keep the cards in the order that they're drawn. Then we'll draw 3 cards. If I draw a card, once again, that matches one of these, the boss will take it, and then I'll draw another card that will replace the card that I just drew. So if these are the 3 cards I've drawn, and they don't match any of the cards here by the bosses, I'm good. If it happens to match what was in the top of the discard pile, that would be added to that pile. So now I have 3 sets of cards that are here, and then I can plant any or all of these that I want to. So this would be one set, I could just plant that. I could plant the 2 bush beans, or the green bean, or all 3, or just 2 of them, whatever combination I wanted to do. Then, at the end of the turn, I just take 2 cards, and I add them to the back of my hand like normal, and then you're ready for the next player to go. Now, the main difference in this set is going to be these cards right here, and they're constantly going to be stealing cards from you and building these up rather quickly as they go. Now, whenever they're ready to cash out, Al Capone will always cash out when there's a score of 3 to get, and Dom will always when there's a score of 2 to get. And then you just take the coins, and that will be their score for their game. Then you will compare your score to the combined score of the Bean Mafias, and whoever has the most points is the winner. So that's kind of how that's going to work. Who should buy this game? Anyone who wants to play it solo or 2-player, that's a no-brainer. You're going to need this to do that. If you've been playing the base game for a while and you want to shake things up, Ladies is going to do that for you. Otherwise, with expansions, I normally say if you're a huge fan of the base game and what is being provided here seems interesting to you, for example, the solo play or 2-player, then this will be a no-brainer. Otherwise, I'm not sure this one is actually needed, but it is fun to play. Purge for us.